podcast where we talk to smart people, but not necessarily done by smart people?
That is an awesome question.
This one goes down probably on one of my top 5.
Hey, I like nutrition. I like to eat food.
This is the coolest thing ever. We're going to do this forever.
I wish I paid more attention in that class.
You know, I'm going to be honest, I don't understand that. As a man, I don't get it.
Welcome to smartpeoplepodcast.com.
Welcome to Smart People Podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm John. And this is Tucker.
Tucker is here. Are you going to edit his whining out of this episode?
I don't know. It depends if he's whining over somebody or if he's by itself.
He's probably whining over this great episode we have for you today, guys. It's interesting. John and I have been talking. This episode was very conversational. It was laid back. It didn't follow the standard format, and it was cool. I mean, it's fun to do that. We talked to some entrepreneurs today. And I think at the root of it, that's exactly what they are. I mean, they were so excited about their product. We clearly like it, and it's for charitable causes and donations, and we'll dive into it. But I just felt like, as we talked about, it was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was one of those times that I actually felt like we sat down, poured a couple beers, and then we're just like, hey, what are you guys doing right now? What do you got going on? Tell us about your project.
I don't know if it'd be beer. I think I'd feel like tea tonight. I don't know. It's just...
Okay, then.
Yeah. Today on the podcast, we talked to Kyle Robertson and Peter Webster. They are the founders of iCare, which you can check them out at icarecause.com. And I don't know, John, since you're the tech guy, why don't you impart a little knowledge on what this is? Obviously, they do so in the episode, but we'll give you a preview.
Oh, yeah, they'll give us a great explanation of it. But in short, it is a way to fund charities and other causes out there and get people to pool money quickly and give it directly to the cause.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
through an app.
Through an app. It utilizes social networks and that trust that you build with people. You see your friend donated $10 or donated whatever amount it was. Maybe it's not listed. And you go, oh, Chris is donating to the Arlington Humane Society. That's awesome. I'm going to do the same thing. I love animals. And, you know, it just gets exposure of causes that are out there, and it increases, I guess, the number of people that are actually going to donate some money to that.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic thing for me specifically to talk to these guys. You know, I figure I'll let the listening world out there know, but I recently changed jobs and kind of took that jump off the cliff, if you will, that we talk about in this episode. And I went to work for a startup nonprofit organization. You can check us out at ushfc.org.
Shameless plug.
It's not even shameless, man. This is good stuff. We're going to change the world.
I agree.
And
you know I agree.
Yeah, and the founder, Lawrence Williams, he's really succeeded in the past thing. So I'm following him into this thing.
Yeah, and that being said, because Chris did leave his job, there's two ways.
Wait, I didn't leave. I mean, I did, but I started a new one.
Yeah, but you started a new job. Okay. You just never know how things are going to go and stuff. So,
That's true.
So people can help out. They can donate at smartpeoplepodcast.com, and they can click the Amazon banner at the top of the page.
I was going to get to Amazon.
Yeah, I know you were, but I thought it would be better if I said, hey, help my buddy out instead of you panhandling on our podcast.
Because I work for a nonprofit?
Yes.
No, I feel good about it. I do. I wake up in the morning for the first time, and I'm like, let's do this, man. And it's
awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Well, you know, I'll talk to you guys about it for the next year. So, but as John mentioned, use our Amazon thing. You know, you're doing your holiday purchases. December is the month that literally keeps us in business or helps us buy our new soundboard, whatever it might be. So we appreciate that. And you guys tuning in, sharing us on Twitter. Somebody recently today shared us. It was awesome. We saw the kind of the effect that happens there. And it just makes what we do worth it. So I think that's enough from us. We're going to turn it over to Kyle and Peter. And you guys can feel that entrepreneurial spirit when we talk to them about iCare.
It's kind of interesting you bring that up about kind of the dynamic between both of you guys. I think Kyle and I kind of had I think we have a similar dynamic in the sense that he's the more technologically inclined or the tech-savvy person on the team, while I came from more of a marketing and sales background. And I think that's been a huge, huge strength for us because we both lived in Boston and were friends in Boston. And at that time, he was an attorney for WilmerHale, but also was a computer engineer, while I came from financial sales and marketing. And, you know, it's funny how I actually moved down here for a promotion at John Hancock, and then probably about a year ago, you know, we started talking on the phone, and he said he was up to this crazy idea of creating a new way for people to be able to support charity and be able to donate in a way that's much more user friendly and much more fun. Just kind of, it made a lot of sense to me right off the bat. There was something about it that I just slowly became more and more obsessed over, to the point where at the beginning of the summer I threw in the towel at John Hancock and just said, you know what, I'm either going to get fired from John Hancock for not paying enough attention to it, or something's going to happen. So I decided I'd saved up a little bit of money and decided to join Kyle to get this idea going forward of really making a difference in the way people can interact with charity, but do it on their terms. And coincidentally, I think that the world of philanthropy we didn't even realize how much of an opportunity it was that was just sitting there, that's out there right now. I mean, if you look at the nonprofit sector right now, the United States alone actually donates over $360 billion with a B dollars per year to nonprofits. So the United States, by far and away, is the most philanthropic country in the world. But the interesting thing about it is that only about 8 to 10% is actually done electronically right now. So you start to see a lot of nonprofit organizations, allow people to make donations online, and then text to donate was really the first. So when Katrina happened, that was really the first major event where people were able to process donations from a mobile phone, which was, you guys probably saw it because they did the same thing for the Red Cross did the same campaign for Hurricane Sandy, where people could, make a $10 donation by typing in a short code, which is, like 55 something, and a huge amount of money was raised. I mean, for Hurricane Katrina, I think they raised
$38.4 million in the first month.
To just kind of show you how quickly that's even grown and become more. And at the same time, in this perfect storm, 96% of the U.S. population has a wireless subscription, and right now over 50% of that is smartphones. So, that's not going to go away anytime soon. But with Hurricane Sandy, Red Cross raised over $100 million in the first week to text to donate, and primarily through $10 donations. So there's this huge movement that's taking place where people, everyday people, not your millionaire philanthropist that, goes in with a tuxedo and writes out a big fat check, but just everyday regular people are very willing to support something when you make it convenient for them and you make it easy to do. Now, the downside of that, and I think Kyle had this great idea that I think what we really hope iCare will become. The downside of the text to donate model is that people don't realize that it takes on average between 90 to 120 days for the donations to actually get to the Red Cross, and then more importantly to get to that disaster or whatever it is, the actual, put that money to the use, whether it's food or supplies, if it's an earthquake, whatever it is that the actual cause is. There's a huge delay that takes place. And I think Anderson Cooper is an example of a reporter that's done several specials on that. So you have this delay that takes place. I think a lot of people, they want to make a difference very quickly, and then when they knew how long it took for the money to actually get to them, to the destination, I think it would be a bit alarming. And the other thing is the fees that are involved. The phone carriers, take substantial fees. The actual donor is charged. First time you do a text to donation, you're actually charged somewhere between $5 and $10, and you don't see it until you get your phone bill. So, the purpose of me bringing that up is not to bash text to donate, because that's a lot of that, a lot of the innovation that I think we've come up with stems from seeing that can be a successful model from the phone. But there is this alarming issue with the delays and the fees that are associated with it. And we thought that there, was this opportunity. Well, what if you can make a donation from your phone that's just as convenient, but you also knew that money was going to get to the donation, you could get the highest percentage to the charity, but you could get it there immediately. So not 60, 90, 120 days, but you could get it there within minutes.
It's really efficiency on all fronts, right? From the timing to the amount that gets through, it's just there's a big inefficiency in the way that's all done right now, largely because it's built upon the cellular system, which wasn't intended to do this. So we built something from the ground up that avoided all those bottlenecks and delays.
And it's impressive, too, because, you guys really have come at this at the time when people are starting to trust giving small, too large amounts of money to random people. I mean, you look at all the crowdsourcing and crowdfunding things that are going on out there, and people are just funding project after project and getting things done. So you're absolutely right. People want to be able to give money directly to a project or a charity or whatever it may be. So I think you guys are right at the perfect timing of this.
And if I could interject, you guys sent over in the email a quote that I love. You said, for the first time in history, it's easier to get 1 million people to donate $1 than it is to get one person to donate $1 million. And
Crazy, right?
that better be your slogan, your vision, mission, everything statement. I mean, it's fantastic.
That's all cheap.
Yeah, I love it.
That's what's inspired me. I think, I remember as a kid, in our house, we were the family that had the junk drawer filled with change. And then we always had like tons of quarters and stuff in the cushions of the couches. And I do remember like being a kid and thinking, man, what if every single person out there could put all this money together and somehow get it together and put it to a single cause. And, and I don't want that to sound corny because, I'm not just making that up. I do remember thinking that. And I really think that iCare allows that. I know it will. And it's to empower that person that can only have, maybe they just have $1, or maybe they just have that small amount of money that's left over after paying their expenses or whatever. But if you can make them feel empowered and know that, even that $1 contribution can have a huge impact, and they can share what they're doing with other people through Facebook, Twitter, and all these kinds of great social mechanisms that we have now. It's incredible to see, and you do see that. You're right. You're bringing up crowdsourced funding is becoming extremely popular. I think the risk that's kind of taken place with like the Indiegogo.com or some of the other you see Kickstarter in the news, and there's a lot of great things they're doing, but there's also the downside that it's going to get misused. Right? There's the risk of people saying they're going to raise money for one thing, and then they end up going to Costa Rica on a vacation. So that was a huge thing that we wanted to incorporate to what we do, is that, if you really want to look at what's required, if you're going to do this kind of funding, well, how do you actually make sure that somebody's contribution is going to go to where it was intended or where they thought it was going to go? So one of the things we did is we partnered with a organization called Charity Navigator, and they are one of the leading, in the United States, one of the leading, I don't want to say watchdog, but, like a vetting company that their whole mission is to help educate donors on if you look under the hood of any nonprofit that's out there, how much are their leaders being paid? How much of every dollar that's raised is spent on basic day-to-day costs? So really, they do a tremendous job of educating everyday people on. There's 1.5 million nonprofits in the country, so they're not all good. There's some bad ones out there. So we've kind of drawn a line in the sand and said that every organization that you can raise on behalf of, they have to either be verified by Charity Navigator, and they do it on a 4-star rating program, so 1 to 4 stars. And so we say they have to have either a 3 or 4-star rating from Charity Navigator. The other organization that we partner with is GuideStar, and theirs is either the certified or not certified. But any organization that has money raised or that's supported on our platform has to be verified by one of those two third-party vetting organizations. So I think that's a big differentiator for us, is knowing that the organizations that are out there that people are raising money for when we launch, they can trust that they have been verified.
Sure. No, it definitely does. And actually, it's funny. I just started 4 days ago working for a brand new nonprofit organization. So it's an interesting. Yeah, thanks. I was working at Living Social doing sales and marketing, and I just started following this group and the founder. And I like the cause. It's we're certifying restaurants based on healthy food offering and sustainable business models. So it's just interesting.
Oh, cool.
It really resonates. And I understand needing, like you said, that third party. Basically, we will be a third party vetting system, if you will. Exactly. For restaurants. So I totally see where you're coming from on that. And raising money in general is a difficulty. And if you guys can make that process easier and more accessible, I love the concept, and I love what you're doing.
I was going to say that's really what it is, right? It's a trust and verification issue and a coordination issue too. How do you, if everybody wants to give $1, how do you contact and aggregate all those people who want to give $1? And then on the flip side, how do they know that dollar is going to do what they say? And it requires services like what you're doing to provide that trust element.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And, recently I went and saw the founder of the charity Water. He spoke, and I know that they were doing some fundraising, and that was one of his concerns, and what he was trying to mitigate was people are really concerned with where their money goes these days when it is going to these charities. So, that's what iCare can provide. I was wondering how you guys plan on utilizing social media. I know from the video we watched, that's going to be a big part of your business. So what's the plans for that going forward?
Yeah, and I'll answer that. I was going to say that you brought up charity water. That is, I would say, if there's a model of an organization out there that has really kind of hit the nail on the head with how to convey a message to people that visit their website, they do a great job, because they not only 100% of money that they receive actually goes to the cause. They actually are funded purely through, for their operational expenses, they're funded through, different corporate sponsors. But they show you the cool thing about what they do, and we actually provide the same kind of tool on our platform, is you can see on a map, if you want to start a fundraiser, they actually, let's say it's for a well or something in Africa, that bring clean water to a village. They will actually show you on the map, using Google Maps, a satellite image of where these projects are taking place. So I think they really found that key ingredient, which is people want to know if they make a donation to your organization, that it's not just being spent and then that's it. They can actually show you tangible places of where these projects are taking place. So I wanted to point out, that's actually an organization that will be on our platform that we're going to be working with. So,
oh, that's fantastic.
But social media is by far and away one of the most important ingredients in eye care, and it's I personally, I'm not even a huge fan of like Facebook, in a sense. I don't spend time on it, or I think that half the stuff I see on there, I'm like, okay, I don't even want a Facebook account, because you see people writing stuff out, I'm getting my nails done, and then I'm going out to dinner, and it's like, okay, come on. But I think we have a model that fits perfectly into what social media allows people to do. So let's say if I make a donation using iCare, let's say I just make a $5 donation to charity water, for example. We give everybody the ability to post that philanthropy right on their Facebook wall, and once they make a donation, to have it automatically posted if they want to. And the cool thing about that is we don't show the dollar amount that somebody contributes, but it just lets somebody actually become the center of influence. So by me just posting that, there was actually a study that was done by a professor at Harvard that was doing a lot of research on how effective is sharing with Facebook, and just by simply posting, by me as a person or somebody posting a donation or something they're doing, there's a 27% increase in the total amount that's raised on the fundraiser. So, just by other people seeing that I did that, they might not even know about charity water yet, but they know me as a person, and so there's that much more of an increase in people clicking on it and being able to support it themselves. So that's a huge part of our model, is bringing in Facebook, Twitter. There's some other great ones out there like Pinterest, and we've integrated them into our platform in a way that you don't have to. For example, if I start a fundraiser with iCare and I share it with, let's say I've got 300 friends on Facebook, there's a huge extended network. And every time somebody that supports my fundraiser, they can automatically have it shared with their entire social network. So there's, I think if you look at the numbers, if you have 100 friends on Facebook, your extended network is 30,000 people. So we really wanted to capture that viral spreading impact that can take place. And they simply just have to, if I post something on Facebook, they just have to click on a link and they're taken right to that fundraising page. They don't have to actually go download the iCare application in the store. They can go right to that page. And that's one of the key strengths of iCare, is combining that web interface with the application in the store.
I have something interesting to add too with that. So, nonprofits and to a larger extent most businesses in the U.S., they want to learn how to use social media effectively as this advertising tool, but that's not the core business of especially nonprofits, let alone other sorts of industries that don't do social media as their core business. And so one thing that iCare does, it takes that out of their hands so they don't have to worry about how they manage it so much anymore. It makes the whole thing automated to the degree that they, if they're on the iCare platform, they know that they are going to have, and their supporters are going to have, access to the Twitter and Facebook feeds and posting abilities that they're trying to create on their own. But what that really gives us, that really builds this bridge between the donor and the nonprofit, is when you use, say, text to donate or just a donate button on a website, for example. I donate to, say, Charity Water, but then Charity Water doesn't know who I am. They have to come find me again next year to get me to give $5 more. Well, with iCare, once you donate or volunteer or even just post to Facebook one of these causes or nonprofits you're interested in, it keeps it in a list of things that I'm interested in. And so not only can I stay up to date on, one, the progress of that fundraiser, or two, maybe what Charity Water is doing, just this month overall, but Charity Water then, if they are doing another fundraiser that I might be interested in, they can use a Twitter hashtag or something that they've used that I donated to before and simply say, hey, we're doing it again. If you're interested, come check us out. And that way they really don't duplicate their efforts of finding the same donors twice. It makes those recruitment dollars go a lot further for them.
You mentioned, My Fundraiser. Can a individual actually start something? Like if somebody wants to start something within their community and they want to raise money for A, B, and C, can they do that through the platform, or do they have to be one of those recognized charities or organizations that have been verified?
Any person that downloads iCare can start a fundraiser on behalf of a registered and approved nonprofit. So, for example, say that I wanted to raise some money for the Austin Humane Society. I really care about animals, and they need some improvements. So what I can do basically is I take a picture with Instagram, or I can record a video, and then I answer a couple questions like, which nonprofit am I raising money for? And usually it's the Austin Humane Society. How much am I trying to do? Tell us a little bit about it. Very simple stuff. And then what iCare does is it automates the social media so that it's leveraged automatically on your behalf. You can text message if you want, email, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, any of that stuff, and it will alert your friends, hey, I'm trying to raise some money to help this cause. And they're provided with a very easy way to contribute whatever amount they feel comfortable with. And that money goes directly to the nonprofit, and then the nonprofit takes care of, say in this example, fixing the kennels or whatever.
That's awesome. And one of the reasons I think that's so awesome is something that I've noticed with this, I guess, younger generation that's right below me, that's coming through high school and college and that kind of stuff, is I see how interactive and involved they get when they can actually do something for the cause. The other day, I watched a video that was shot by some kids at high school on bullying, and then they started this whole anti-bullying campaign because of it, and it took off because it was student-directed, acted, all that kind of stuff, and they were the ones that really put everything into it. And, like the teachers at the school were noticing that this cause was being taken more seriously because of their involvement, and allowing people to do that and actually come up with the fundraising on their own and then donate that to the nonprofit. I mean, you guys got me excited about this. This is really cool. I really like it.
You hit the nail on the head, though. It's the whole buy-in aspect, or in technical terms, perhaps it's user-generated content. But what that really means is, if someone tells me, hey, come raise money for a cause I care about, I'm interested in that because I care about the cause, or it's my friend or whatever. But when I can do it myself, or my group of friends can do it themselves, that's a kind of buy-in and dedication and engagement levels that you don't get from a third party forcing that on you. It can only grow organically from yourself. And that's something that we really try to harness, because that's that personal contact that gets people engaged in what they do.
This is a little backwards from the way we normally do it, but as I mentioned earlier on, we like to understand the entrepreneurial spirit and the drive that started this all. And you gave us a little background about how you were both doing your own thing, the idea came up, and it was kind of a, let's do it and see what happens. And I wanted to first ask, what kind of made you pull the trigger? I mean, I'm sure, Peter, you could have stayed in the financial services industry and probably made pretty good money and just kept going. But, there was that choice you made to take a risk, do something that you believed in. What was the thought process there, and how did you finally say, I'm going to do it?
That is a big change, right? You go through college, you work, you think you've got things pretty planned out for your life, and you try not to. There was something about this specifically that I literally could not think about anything else. And I don't have 20 years of working at nonprofits or fundraising, and I don't have that resume that you might expect someone that's doing this to have. I think that was really one of the key strengths. I think that if I'm just a regular person that had a background in financial services, and if I can be so motivated and just so completely obsessed over this, then I bet there's a lot of other people out there that would feel the same way. So I don't know. I really don't have a good answer. I just felt extremely confident didn't have any doubts or anything. I just knew that, look, it's just because we still haven't launched, right? We submitted to the Apple Store, and we will be launching very shortly, which is pretty exciting. But there's no 100% guarantee that it's going to work, and I've always known that. But I just feel like if we don't do it right, somebody's going to do this right. There's not a question that what this model is all about. Someone is going to do this, and I just felt like we absolutely have the ability to do it. What I was trying to say in the beginning about us having kind of a different background and him being technically inclined is like, it was so cool for me to just say, hey, I think I've got a really cool idea. Do you think we can put this in there into the app? And him being able to say, okay, let me get to work on that. And 24 hours later, after him programming for, a couple days, like, boom, now we've got fundraising built into it. You know what I mean? So it was like this really cool dynamic and just this pure confidence that, you know what, we're going to make this work no matter what. And it's been pretty challenging, but
that makes a lot of sense. For me, I think it was much closer to just pure insanity. So my quick version of that, I was a computer engineer and math major in undergrad, and I worked as an engineer, a software developer for a while, and decided that wasn't for me, and I went to Boston College for law school, and went there and graduated, and I was actually a intellectual property attorney, so I did like the Apple Samsung lawsuit, the big one you just saw. And all the time that I'm doing that, I'm just thinking about this eye care thing, which when you start at these law firms, they kind of haze you a little bit. And so I'm on this 30-story building in downtown Boston, and someone had to take a piece of paper and go office to office and collect the pledges for the charity drive. And I was the lucky guy who drew that card. So the whole law thing, it operates on this billable hour concept. So if you're not working, you're not getting credit. So I spent 3 days walking around getting, not getting any credit for work, taking all these things by hand. And all I could think about was, there's got to be a simpler way to do this. Because people do that all over. If I'm raising money for a race, if I'm going door to door, it's this problem of coordination. Someone had to go out there by hand. It's very labor intensive and time consuming. And that little nugget of that idea just kind of gnawed at me for months and months and months. I actually came up with this over a year ago. And then, Thanksgiving of last year, I just decided to myself, what do I really want to do? You get one life, you get one shot at it. I always thought that it would be great to do something more than help large corporations shuffle money back and forth, maybe contribute to humanity a little bit. So I just built up the courage and sold my house and told my law firm that I had to do something else, and then set out to start programming it. And fortunately found Peter, who was more than willing to. He's been instrumental in doing all of this. Like, this is more than one person could do by themselves, absolutely.
Oh, sure.
And it's been an evolution the whole time through. But the momentum, you start with that little spark and it grows into this fire, and it just builds and builds and builds. And fortunately, it's all been positive and in the right direction. So that brings us to where we are today.
I love that answer, especially starting this nonprofit. We are in what they call an incubator, in this lab space or this office space that houses 50 small entrepreneurs and whatnot. And I saw a quote the other day that said, entrepreneurs are those people that create something and provide jobs for the rest of, society. It said these people don't necessarily want to make a lot of money. They don't want to work their entire life, but they feel like it's something they have to do, and it's the only thing worth doing. And that kind of, summarizes what you were saying in terms of you have to have confidence, you have to be excited about it, and then you have to believe somebody's going to do it. It comes down to execution. And so you have to believe in yourself in that, and it's just a really good summation of what you guys are doing.
And at the end of the day, right, you just have to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you just got to step off that ledge and hope that there's something below you. And I really believe if you work hard enough and you think about what you're doing, you can make that work.
Yeah, I mean, it resonates with a lot of people. I think it's something that anybody can get behind, because if you were to look at our team, right now we've got 8 people on our team, and, about half of them are still, they're still working part-time, and they're doing it pretty much pro bono for free, with the assumption that once we get going and funded and everything, that it'll be worth it. But they're not doing it for anything more than just absolutely 100% believing that this is like a need, that this is really a calling that everybody can benefit from. So I think that really means a lot to Kyle and I, to know that we've got people that are just willing to contribute significant hours every day to do that and make this work. So,
but don't get us wrong, it's ridiculously rewarding. I mean, if there's a selfish aspect to it, I've never been more at peace with the world, and it's just so, being able to actually like talk to these organizations and see the need. And especially like today we talked to a group that helps a specific set of veterans, and you just hear the plight that these people are talking about, and it's just like, wow, that's a need for people who are underserved with things they need, and it's like, wow, we can really do something to help them. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, getting up in the morning and wanting to go to work and wanting to spend time on something certainly means the world.
Priceless.
It's definitely priceless.
It's something
priceless.
that John doesn't understand.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I hearing you talk about that, I think you guys are pushing me closer to that ledge.
Yeah, to that cliff. Well, guys, I think that about wraps it up for us. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk about eye care. When do you see this coming out? When does this get implemented? When can people look towards eye care to fund their next charity and make some donations?
We're in the beta rollout stage right now, testing it with our pilot partners and things like that. And with it at the store and waiting on Apple, we're going to be looking to come out before Christmas, and still we'll stay in that whole beta period for, a little while until we feel the system's like, we've tested it obviously, but just to make sure it's like rock solid.
Sure.
But people should be able to download it, by the first of the year for sure.
And where can they find you on the web and then Twitter and other social networks? You guys, I'm sure, have a pretty good presence out there.
So it's www.eyecarecause.com. And if you go to the website, we have our video up that explains the Band of Monsters and Men, which, by the way, Amazon just named them the best album of 2012. So you'll probably recognize the song and the video. They're actually going to be doing some fundraising on our platform, which is pretty cool. But awesome. That's our website. You can sign up, follow us on Twitter, and check out our Facebook page, and you can submit your email address so that as soon as we actually are in the store and live, we'll send a notification to anybody that goes to it that we're in there to check it out. And we really want feedback from everyone. This is for, everybody that just wants a better way to be connected with, making a difference in the world. So the most important thing that we can get is feedback from people. If they like it, if they don't like it, what would they want to change?
We'll be sure to put some links up on our website and everything. And again, we appreciate you guys being on. We're looking forward to see eye care coming out in the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much, Chris and John. I really appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Another Smart People Podcast episode in the can.
Yep, come and going.
Another one. How long did you think we would be doing this when we started? Almost exactly 2 years ago.
Literally never crossed my mind. Man, I figured...
Did you think we were even going to get it started?
Yes. I figured 50 friends would listen and make fun of us. And probably I'd quit like most things that I do.
I'm glad you didn't.
And the reason is because you guys, honestly, listening and giving us your feedback, it makes it worth sitting in our studio, which is approximately 47 degrees right now. My feet are freezing.
It is kind of cold in here right now.
So thanks for tuning in. Hope you picked up a little of that encouragement, that enthusiasm over doing what you want to do, taking that dive, something we talk about all the time.
Yeah, so guys, be on the lookout for the eye care app in the App Store. Check on their website, sign up if you want to get newsletters from them to find out, when they're actually going to go live, when you can start submitting money and all that kind of cool stuff. Make sure you follow us, Smart People Pod, on Twitter. We're over on Facebook. We've got our website, smartpeoplepodcast.com. Seriously, head over to iTunes, rate us, leave a comment, that kind of cool stuff. It helps us immensely with moving up the iTunes charts when you guys do those things. If somebody asked me one thing that I wanted for Christmas, it would be 1,000 reviews.
Boom.
All 5 stars.
Bring it to us, Santa
Thanks,
Claus
guys.
style.
See you guys next week. Tucker, do you want to lick the microphone?
Why does he like everything?